3. We'll call it to order. We have a confirmation of provident notice.
Up on the 3rd of February, according to statutory requirements. So if you don't make call roll.
Yeah.
Mr. Coella?
Yeah.
Ms. West? I'm sorry, it's Ms. Wolf.
Yes.
It's so used to saying JW.
W, yeah.
Ms. Coughlin?
Here.
Mr. Farren?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Kaplowitz?
Here.
Mr. Perry?
Here.
Ms. Marlette?
Here.
Deb Hastings? Or Deb Harding?
Harder, yep.
Harder?
Here.
Yeah, George Fisher?
Here.
Okay, everybody here, and then we have a guest, Mr. Flood is in our audience. Anybody else on there?
Not online.
Not online, okay, and the only one I think is out, it would be Grace Anzalone.
Grace, yeah, okay.
And of course, I think that we could take Jane Conway off. I don't think she comes out much for anything anymore.
Okay,
Never seen her.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, we have a quorum.
All right. All right, the chairman's comments, I'll review the minutes first and then go to the chairman's comments. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from our last meeting in January? Any deletions, additions, corrections? Do I have a motion to
I'll
accept
make a
them?
motion to accept those minutes.
Second? Bob, okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, what we're doing right now, as everybody can see, we're in the process of cleaning up leaves as needed and spreading the mulch. And when we get done with the mulch, John and I have already found a couple of runs of really old hibiscus like we were talking about. And we're gonna get rid of them and put snow queens in there.
Which are hibiscus.
Yeah, yeah, because we've had really good luck with them. And also, very pleased to, I gotta tell this to the board too, Brown came in to get rid of the stumps, gave us our quote compared to the other quotes we had, and how much less it was, John?
Saved about $3,000 with Brown.
Fantastic.
$3,000 less.
Sweet.
Yes, so he's gonna start doing that, and,
Could be as early today,
oh, okay.
but next week for sure.
What stumps does that include?
That's all the major, it's all the big ones from the
Hurricane,
hurricane, including those ones behind this, the 400s. It also includes taking down 2 large dead trees and the trimming of another one. So it's we actually got a savings of $2,000, and we got more work to get done.
and more done, yeah.
Wonderful.
And the other thing wanted to do was, if you go out this way, when you get to the stop sign, right across from the stop sign, there's a big stump sits up like this by the light. I'm gonna get Jeff and to get like a half whiskey barrel, attach it to the stump, because Jeff said somebody will walk away with it. Fill it up, and I'm gonna put impatiens in it to start with, like we have in the boxes in the villages,
Nice,
because Ed said you get water there, and also a shady, so it should work.
nice.
And there's a couple of other smaller stumps on the
Boulevard.
boulevard that we're just gonna put plantings on or something just to disguise them, because we just can't go around and get them all, so the unsightly ones.
What's the date of the emptying of the whiskey barrel?
Oh. Yeah, it's gonna be 100-year-old Scott. You guys join in it? That's good with you, Chris?
Yeah.
No, Irish whiskey for me.
Ah,
Okay, all right.
Any possibility we could start working on some of the other stumps?
Old stumps?
Yeah.
Not at present, quite frankly, for budgetary reasons.
Yeah, for budget reasons.
Unfortunately, we've run across a real heinous situation with insurance. And by the time we take care of these stumps and do the palm trees to whatever level this year, and the other trees that have to come down, that budget's shot. Now, there's a chance we could do it in the fall, depending on what we have left over from plantings and things like that. But right now,
I know we can't get all of
Yeah,
them, but if
no.
we could at least,
yeah, we'd like to get whatever we can.
Oh, I'd love to go around and get them, but, money, yep.
What's it cost to dig out a stump, on average?
Well, I can tell you more when I sensitize the bill again. The problem is, $150 for small ones, maybe. And the big ones, of course, we got some that are the size of these tables
Yeah.
taken out. And then they have to be careful because there's electric lines run through some of them, water lines run through some of them.
What I've done on my personal property, is take a drill with a big bit on it and just drill a whole bunch of holes in the top of the stumps. It expedites them breaking down. It's not hard to do. It's very simple to do, particularly with a.
The older stuff that we have, this just not so onerous where it stands up like the big ones we have now.
Right.
Yeah.
Some
I
small.
think there's some chemical you can put in there too to
You
help
could.
decay
You could.
when you
It's a
drill
lot.
drill the hole.
Yeah, there's something
Yeah.
called stump rot or something.
Stump
They
rot.
go in
You
there
can drill
to
holes
help
and pour it in.
encourage the rot to happen.
it does work.
But we certainly can do that as a
We could
project.
do something like that. See, that's cost effective.
Especially the older ones that'll
Cost
work.
effective,
The
yeah.
ones that
Because they're already starting
have
to
just
rot.
fallen. If you drill the holes, it takes forever. But a lot of the old ones, if you drill and put this stuff in, then after a while, you can just take a pick and just level them off because they rot.
Good, we'll try that. sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
that's good.
Builds up Jeff's muscles.
Okay, all in favor of trying that system first? Okay. All right, staff report, Jeff.
We had some poinsettias that were donated. They went on the boulevard on the hill behind 508 and the bench on the left-hand side. We also had a bird of paradise that went behind 214 for a tree hibiscus that died to replace. We had some impatiens left over and 8 impatiens that I had to purchase to fill in the flower beds boxes that were empty or didn't grow very well. The cost of $13.98, your remaining balance of $99.8602. And your rainfall total for January is 2.5 inches, and rain is spelled correctly this time.
Thank you.
What did you say at the end?
That rain is spelled correctly.
Oh.
I pulled a Barbara's good at picking up those typos.
Any questions for Jeff, anyone? Okay.
If I might, Peter, would you please have Jeff send me the report so that I can post that?
I got one, I'll send it, Chris. I'll send it to you when I send the other stuff, okay?
Okay. I did have one question about trimming banana plants. I don't know how to trim a banana. I wouldn't have a clue how to trim one, but there are a couple that, 2 of them that are behind around 558 or 556 that have been trimmed very severely. There's no leaves on them. And I don't know whether they'll come back.
Well, I tell you what, because of the rodent drawing, we're kind of hoping they don't come back.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they are a main source of rodent drawing, and they're really not indigenous to us. We've been just kind of letting them go and then trimming them, when they need a trim and trimming them deep. I know that the Zingas,
Zinda, yeah.
the Zindas planted
91.
about 8 or 9 of them,
They were big, they
and
were
we've just
big.
let them go their own way, and they just die out. So this probably happened to these 2, but there has been a rodent problem in that area where those plants were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We'll address this.
Yeah.
And you notice in back of Jeff's report, we have a Brightview West Bay report. for the fertilization. We talked about that, so they gave us a printout of what they did and where they did it and what they used.
And what's happening is we have to kind of push them even though we want it, but we do have a posting of what we'll be doing this month on the bulletin board, so that has come to fruition. We do have to kind of bug them with it though. And I know that Bob had asked for a copy of what the materials came in, have been placed, so that's why it's in Jeff's little packet, and I know you wanted to address it, Bob.
Yeah, the stuff we're using, although it's not highly toxic, the stuff we're using is toxic. The atrazine, which is an herbicide, is very toxic on runoff. It especially to frogs and some fish. It screws up the reproductive systems of some of the frogs and stuff. And to get that, atrazine is banned in some states, and it's banned in 44 countries.
Yeah.
But it'll never be banned in the United States because it's highly used in agriculture, in cornfields and soybeans and stuff. So to get it banned and the total ban in the United States is probably never going to happen. But that's in the insecticide we're using is very toxic to honeybees and other beneficial insects, and it's banned in the European Union and it's banned in some states, and it is toxic to some birds. And it's about time we started looking at some eco-friendly products and stop using these pesticides and herbicides that we're currently using. I mean, you can go online and find out, read all about this atrazine. And I asked John how to pronounce this insecticide, he couldn't do it either. It's the one that's on the sheet.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I agree. Atrazine, I mean, even if it's not a target species, like if a butterfly lands on it, that butterfly will die. It's really powerful stuff.
With the insecticide that we're using, it's a systemic insecticide. In other words, it doesn't kill on contact. The insects have to eat the plant in order to affect them. But it's still, I mean, and when we do spray and stuff around here, it's during the daytime when you have all your beneficial insects and your honeybees out. I mean, at home, I know the stuff when they spray for mosquitoes and stuff, it's done at night, so they don't affect beneficial insects because they're all out of the way after dark. But I mean, when you're spraying this stuff in the middle of the day, I mean, the honeybee population is going down the tubes anyway, and this is just one of the reasons why is some of these insecticides that are being used.
So what are we using for weed control?
It's called atrazine.
Is that listed here?
It is. If you read the other report, there's another report that comes out. I read it on the bag when they did when they put down the fertilizer had atrazine in it, the herbicide in it.
What's that? I'm not familiar with that. What's that similar to? Is that out there under another, marketed brand?
No, this is I used it myself. When we had the farm and stuff, we used it in all the cornfields because it really works wonderful, but we didn't have any water around, or we were careful with how we used it. But here, with the runoff we have in all these ponds, you get a rain, and this washes in, and it does affect.
And it doesn't degrade very quickly over time. It'll be here for generations past our application.
Atrazine can build up in the soil.
So that's different than the old 2,4-D.
It's not as bad, no.
It's a different chemical. Atrazine and 2,4-D are both old chemicals. They've been around for years and years and years. And I'm sure there's got to be some products out there that are newer and safer than either one of those products.
And still effective.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, we're bringing
yes.
a lot of the Brightview to put this stuff down. And this stuff is, you know, readily available to them, and it's probably a whole lot cheaper than your eco-friendly products, but it's about time we started looking, because, you know, we should not be using these things.
And we're supposed to be an Audubon park.
In addition to that, when a lot of our sprinklers overspray, and they spray and they run off, and they go down our drains, and the drains go into the main city or county. And that sometimes, when you get excessive rains, will go out into the river, which goes out into the Gulf, and that feeds red tide. And so, being two things, being more careful. I appreciate that information that you shared. And on top of that, a concern I have is a lot of the runoff from the sprinklers. See the sprinklers, see them running off, going down the street and into the drains. So that's not good for our ecology in this area.
We really should start looking at alternatives. to
Well,
what we use it.
as Bob had asked me to do, is to contact Brightway to see if, in fact, what could happen. I talked to the supervisor, and he said, no, you got to talk to my boss. So I put a call in for him. Unfortunately, you know, when I'm out on property sometimes, he's called, so we've missed calls a couple times.
Yep.
But I'll be bringing this subject to him, and maybe bring up a report back to the next time to see what alternatives can be used, to see if there's an impact cost. I can say one thing, and that we don't keep it because of that, but the contract price for their work, which is on a monthly basis with fertilization and whatever, all the chemicals they use, has been the same price for 8 years. So they haven't changed their price. So,
Is it possible to reduce the number of times that we fertilize?
well, what was it, 4 times, Jeff?
4 times a year, and actually during the rainy season, they don't use any kind of.
That's good.
Actually going to go into this, you know, have a runoff situation. It's going to cause a problem, and that's mandated by Florida State.
The Florida State also recommends at least four treatments a year for the type of turfs and stuff we have here.
Can I ask a question about the sprinklers? Is it possible to change, like I know the ones around us run for an hour. Is it possible to do it more often for less time, so we get better saturation without runoff? I mean, we do get a lot of runoff. I know in our cluster, a lot of it you see in the mornings, it's in the parking lot, it's standing in the little swales.
With the amount of valves and everything that we have on the property, it's not feasible, because on give you an example, on one clock alone, you have 18 zones.
Do they have to run for an hour though?
Well, the fronts we usually run for about 30 minutes, the backs we run for an hour because it's a wider area. They usually run 3 days a week, which is either a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Right.
And if you want to change it up more, given the amount of time that it has to run, has to be come on at a certain time and go off at a certain time, so we're not interfering with people walking in and out of their condos at, you know, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, which we've had people complain about and coming back in late. They're getting wet. So we kind of do the timing accordingly, so the fronts are running at a certain time and the backs are running at a certain time, so everything's done before 7 o'clock.
No, I get that.
So to add another day or to try to fit all that in a certain amount of time, you really have to go back and get another clock and have that hooked up to another time, and to, instead of having, I think we have like 27, 28 clocks, you'd almost have to double that to do what you want to do. And clocks are not cheap.
I mean, I've seen them going in the daytime, going around and testing the sprinklers.
Yeah.
Now, there's ways to adjust it so that if it's spraying in a half circle and it should be spraying in a quarter circle. So you know, are they checking for that when they're doing it? And how often do they?
They
Do
do
that.
that.
Ed
We
does
know
that.
We have one full-time person doing that, so
Ed does that,
it
yeah.
does that. And of
Yeah.
course, pressure occasionally turns them, just like other things. You'll see a
Yeah.
Well,
top
that's
will
kind of-
spin off, it hasn't been hit, and it's off at angle. I mean, the majority of irrigation calls we get probably are, it seems to be splashing toward me or something like that. And we try to get those things done immediately.
Well, with his runoff comment, that's why I was thinking
Yeah.
maybe it's sprinkling the parking
Well-
lot more than it's sprinkling the
well-
plant if that thing got turned.
We haven't grown any roads.
There's
No,
about
but
the
they
hot
could
top
have,
and
it
all.
could have turned towards the road.
Yeah. No, but that is an issue. There's no question about it. And and of course we use reuse water, which is supposed to be enhanced.
Oh, it's enhanced.
It's
Yeah.
enhanced, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a fantastic odorant in it.
Well, if you're an administrator of a property such as this that uses reused water, the county requires a course. And they start by taking a glass and putting it up there with this water, and they say, "This is safe to drink. Who wants to drink it?"
Yeah.
I've never been to a class where anybody's taken them up on it yet.
Nobody's ever taken a drink.
No.
No.
And I say that the reclaimed water is actually 99.9% purer than what's coming out of your faucet.
Well, I can tell you that our faucet water is not amenable to my tropical fish.
Really?
I had to put in, well, I didn't have to put it in, it was in there. We have a water spigot that's just got purified water.
Yeah.
And I know my husband tried it and tested the purified water against ours, and it was high in ammonia and nitrates.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out the filter system for our sanitary water was worn out. So I just checked it again because I just changed the filters and it came out beautiful. So I now I'm happy because I don't have to buy the spring water to
Yeah.
put in my aquarium. I can use it right out of my, but there's a big difference between what coming out of the tap and that filtered water.
So you're saying that the water that we drink for taking pills, whatever, is not that great?
My fish can't tolerate it.
Not that great. And it's all over like that, because I know up in Massachusetts, I came out and had a guy from, what's the name of the water company? Culligan, yeah. And he tested the water and he turned around and told my wife, "Have you been drinking this?"
That sounds
Turn
like
off the
So, I
sales
mean,
approach.
that's enough. So we
That's
put
a
in a
good sales
reverse
pitch.
osmosis system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's that way everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it was very noteworthy to me when I did that little test.
I have another water thing or sprinkling thing. I live in Pinehurst, and on the corner where you come into B, there's a sprinkler and a teeny rock, but everybody keeps driving over the sprinkler and the rock. If we could get a bigger rock, maybe.
Oh, God.
But may I address big rocks?
Oh, geez, yeah, yeah.
As Gus probably knows,
Yep.
we had an issue in his cluster where the county trucks were actually doing U-turns coming in and cutting the corner and just tearing it up.
That's what we have.
And we had a beautiful big rock that was buried into some shrub row that we brought over and put it on the corner. Well, it was about 3 days and a truck hit it, moved it, and we had to move it back. I don't know what happened with the truck, but it probably didn't. But on the day of the courtyard sales, a lady drove up on it. Her back wheel was about 4 inches off the ground. It took her 3 hours to get untowed, and somebody said $2,000 to $3,000 worth of damage to her vehicle from these big rocks.
Oh, my God.
I mean, how do you miss a rock?
Well, the
She-
thing is, they're driving over the sprinkler head. So that sprinkler is.
But Ed and I have looked at that too, but it's there because if you position it anywhere else, we're going to be doing the sidewalk and
No, I
and
like
the
the
road.
sprinkler. I
Yeah.
just don't want everybody driving over it and ruining
Neither
it
do
all
we.
the time.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
The solution might be, instead of a rock, is a post.
Well, that's what we
Yeah.
proposed also, but
But that's, the problem with this woman was she parallel parked along the grass. And then when she left, she had to make a sharp right turn to go out. And when she just cut across the grass, I mean, it really wedged up between her wheel and her frame and her fender well.
Well, I
She
understand
moved
that.
rock
but
about
that's
3
because she
feet,
was-
didn't she?
That's because
She
she was
moved the rock
late.
about 3 feet. didn't
Oh,
she?
probably 5 or 6 feet out, and it pulled back out in the drive.
We didn't have to pay for her damage, did we?
No,
That's good.
we don't know yet.
This rock is what,
I would,
I would
Yes.
counter sue her for the damage to the yard.
Yeah, or- and the rock.
yeah,
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's really not, and I've seen some other people, some of the contractors, when they come in, they've got a small trailer with them, they'll park in that same, it's not a parking space, it's just there in front of the mailboxes, they'll
Right.
parallel along that grass. And when they go out, it's a very sharp 90-degree, there's not much radius to the grass, and they go across it. They're really not the ones hurting the grass. It's the big truck that comes from the county that pumps out the lift station right there right next to us.
Yeah.
And they come, sometimes they're there twice a week. And the one big blue truck, he's the one that does all the damage because he's got tandem wheels in the back. He's turning that, I've watched him. He's turning that truck as tight as he can go to get around that corner. And he's still sticking the front end of that truck into the bushes by the mailbox.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how big that truck is. You really don't realize it. It's got one of those pumps out on the front of it, things that like the fire department used to have.
Mhm.
And when those tandems go through that grass, they're scooting sideways. And it just, you can see, he'll drag grass, he'll make a path out, how much grass and dirt he drags out of there. If you go over there right now, you'll see it,
yeah.
how bald it's getting.
Can we have?
I
a word
looked
with
at,
them?
around the area after that, and if you go out Spring Lakes Boulevard, by each one of their road humps, they have a nice little white stake that's about a 2x2 with a little, like a pointed
Reflector.
top on it. Maybe, Jeff, your talent, when you would build things like that, take a look at that, and maybe we could put one on that corner and then one on that corner and see how, if and
How
when
long
it
it
gets
lasts.
broken, but how
How
long
long
it'll
it
last,
lasts.
but at least we'll do it as a test.
Well,
I mean, I think you know the ones I'm
That's
talking about.
planted and the lady drove over.
Jeff, I think you know the ones I'm talking about. Yeah, they're nice little
Yeah.
posts.
The
Yeah.
thing with the one in Pinehurst is that rock is only this big. And
Yeah.
if you're driving an UPS truck or the FedEx truck, they sit up high. They can't even see that. I mean, but if you put a post there, they can see the post.
They
If
can
you
see
put a
it.
post with a reflector, they can
With
see
the
the post.
reflector.
there's
Yeah.
two rocks there. There's a bigger one and there's a little one.
But they cut that corner shot
Bigger
all the
one.
time, but they can't see that. They sit up high and put a rock that's this big, they don't even know it's there.
If you put a post in, it's gonna have to be tall enough that you can see it inside a vehicle.
Oh, yeah, well, there's a poster, what, about 2.5 feet up?
You won't see
They
those.
won't see, they won't see that.
You
You'd
need to
have to
be-
put a post that's at least
About
3
4
feet.
feet.
We
3
used
to
to,
4
Well,
feet.
we could do that.
Sure.
we used to put bollards to protect things.
Yeah.
And they had to be at least 48 inches tall, or you can't see them in a vehicle.
Because you sit in one of those trucks, you sit up high, you don't see anything that's on the ground.
Sure, we can do that.
And
Any
what
other?
about a word with the company, the county that's?
Hmm?
Why are they, I know, I remember that happening, but why are they?
They turn around, they pump, then they come in our,
We've asked them not to do that, but that's the driver.
they.
One guy does, one guy doesn't.
Right. The white truck goes out the front. He
I was gonna
doesn't,
say,
he
there's,
doesn't come around.
it's
the
not
blue
like you
truck.
have to pull a U-V or anything.
He wants to go back out 34th
Maybe his
Street,
route,
and he's probably going back, I'm guessing, to the municipal building, which is the easier way to go than to deal with
Cortez.
But it's
Cortez.
doing property damage, so I think.
Oh, he
we need
is.
to
He
let them
definitely
know
is.
that that's
And he hits the bushes.
inappropriate.
we've had several issues with the paper deliverer lady where we've written
Yeah.
to both papers and you name it. And they don't even pick up their registered mail, but Sarasota Herald Tribune or Bradenton Herald don't even go pick it up.
One of my neighbors was telling me that there in the corner in our village, that the delivery person was coming up on the sidewalk, all the way up to the front door of the guy in the corner.
Believe it.
And drop, and he noticed all of a sudden there were these tire tracks in the grass. So shortly after that, they changed delivered person and it wasn't happening anymore, but
Well,
couldn't believe that they
there's a
were
lady
driving
there
around.
that I'd like to get a hold of, but Pete had the same thing. We had
I
to
had-
put up
Yeah.
signs and everything.
Yeah,
Really?
same, oh, yeah. I'm figuring out, how did she's got a good arm. Because it was right by the front door. Here's the track.
They drive.
So now
they-
Jackie
They
next-
drive on the other side of the road, because
Jackie next door to me now parks right on the other side of that, so.
We call that Gretchen parking, because the Gretchen that used to be on the board years ago, I mean, she's passed away now, but she used to park like that, you know, she'd be
Really?
up on the sidewalk and
Yeah.
halfway into her courtyard.
Yeah.
they've stopped these paper delivery drivers a lot. They even drive on the wrong side of the road because they're throwing a newspaper out their window.
Sure,
So if they got a customer that's over here, they drive down the road on the wrong
Well, you know-
side so they can throw the paper up in the,
in my village, she's coming in the wrong way.
yeah.
She isn't throwing the paper like this.
She's not throwing it over the,
She's going
over the,
against the arrow.
over the
Yeah.
roof.
And
Yeah.
she's riding right over that grassy loam there.
Yeah.
They drive on the wrong side so they
Yeah.
can throw the paper out the window. 'cause
In
they're
the
too
70s
lazy to do it the other way.
In the 800s, the downstairs lady has to go upstairs to get her paper because she must be flipping it like this.
Got a good,
That's one of the complaints, yeah. I think she has to go upstairs to 202.
And like John said,
802.
you can call them 8,000 times and there's nothing.
Well, like I said, it went to the point of registered letters and then
Yeah.
the corporations didn't even pick them up.
No,
Well,
no, so, yeah.
if there's any way you could find them for property damage.
No.
No.
You-
No, we just put 4x4s down where they were going, and after they run over that a few times, they don't go there anymore.
Then they stop.
That's
The
what
big
happened at
rocks
Pete's.
work really good for that too.
Yeah,
in that
especially that
situation.
lady.
The other thing I forgot, what's that, pool 7?
Yeah.
Right by pool 7, where the stop signs are there, in that little area, John and I saw it needed some more work done. Some of the shrubs look real nasty and there's empty spots, so we're gonna work on that, fill that in, make it look better.
Especially if you go by it, it doesn't look too bad, other than a few plants that died on the outside.
Yeah.
But if
You go
you're coming inside and leaving the fence, leaving the pool to go out, there's a big swash you don't see from the road. So we're gonna upgrade that
Yeah,
plant.
dress that up, yep. All right.
On
And-
that subject, Jeff, we talked about this before, where the palm tree was killed next to our mailboxes.
Yeah.
That's on our list.
Okay, good.
The
And-
question is, do we want to go with another palm tree that looks like a telephone pole, or do we want, I mean, you almost wish you could put a shady lady there or something, but
No.
aesthetically it wouldn't probably look good.
Yeah.
So you got to go with a palm. How about a fishtail palm?
How tall do they get?
Oh, what did they get? About
Fishtail,
25 feet?
They've done very well where we planted them.
Yeah,
They
they,
don't drop as much. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
if you were to go, well, we've put in what, about 5 or 6 of them?
Yeah, behind.
We
that.
replaced the banyan trees that all fell down. And those things they're almost as big as the banyan trees.
Yeah, they're
It's
about
amazing
20
how they've
feet tall
grown.
now.
Is a single stem?
No, it's
No, it's a
multi-stem.
double and a try, and
I said
Is that what I
Tiffany,
had
this
in
thing
front,
was from the
7.3?
Department of
That's-
no, you
Florida,
haven't
was
had
on
an idiot.
crepe
You have a Christmas
murder.
palm.
because they're saying
Like
that the
the
way
Christmas
that we
palms?
trim our
Yeah, it's in
crepes
front of
is
a
not
place in the street
appropriate,
across
that
from the
crepe
Christmas
myrtle
palm.
is actually a
Yeah, you
small
had the big one.
tree.
Yeah.
And
the
it
one-
should
one
be
over on our
trimmed
sides, I
like
mean,
you
it's
would
like
a
6
small
feet tall.
tree
It's
with
growing.
removing dead
Yeah.
branches,
I mean,
crossing branches, but letting it have its kind of umbrella shape. So a crepe myrtle might be a pretty addition to what you're talking about if we didn't crepe murder them.
Well, again, and all right, no argument there, but the problem is this is the mailbox here and you got a big tall palm tree here. And this one died because it got hit by lightning. Would it be unbalanced if you don't put something that's
Right. That's what I was thinking, unless you took the other one down.
took the other one out and
Well-
put 2 fishtails in?
Well.
Then you wouldn't pay by
Bisphorum or
trimming anymore.
podocarpus can be trimmed to be vertical.
Yeah, but they're dead. They're just, they don't have any leaves for half a year, the crepe myrtles.
And you're gonna
No, I'm
get,
saying Pittosporum or podocarpus. I always get those two mixed up.
Oh,
But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
either one of them would work.
Yeah, they're so slow grow,
No.
yeah,
but these things are
I'm
a
young.
couple fishtails.
and fishtails are great because
Speak
they
for
don't,
yourself.
fishtails are great because they don't drop some. They're
Yeah.
very
Right.
clean. Yeah. Yeah.
More plants
I'll
than
take you
yours.
over and show you.
Okay, and in the same area, are we still gonna replace the bushes there?
Eventually, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't do any planting whatsoever until March.
Right.
This is what Pete and I have been going around
Okay, because
inventory.
those are, the ones on the right side where the tree was taken down, after it was hit by lightning. There, I mean, I think there's one bush over there left.
Yeah,
And then the other side was, they're just so overgrown. They just, it needs to be.
they're getting old.
That's on our list.
Okay.
Yeah.
That definitely,
Just,
the mail, it seems like a lot of the mailbox, or the cluster, inside the clusters, plants are older than a lot of the ones in front of the units. And so we've noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming those palm trees there went back to the original plantings.
Could be.
I mean, those things are 40, 50 feet tall. They're,
Yeah.
or the one is now, the other one.
The other one's very short.
Is that a
A lot of
possibility of
these-
removing that other, I'm not sure what kind of palm that is.
It's just one of the, I don't know, a queen or.
I think it's a queen
Queen.
palm.
I think so.
You wouldn't want that if you had,
I don't,
I'm just thinking of
I don't
uniformity.
think the residents would want that tree gone. I mean,
We kind of have a policy against taking out live trees.
it's a.
And if we took out a live tree, the policy that I quote to people, let's say, no, you took it out over there,
Right.
you know? Because we get requests, but let's face it, with the requests that come in here about leaves like that, we would be denuded.
Yeah,
There'd be nothing out here.
Be a
it would,
des-
it
be
would
a
look
desert.
like Lakewood Ranch, like a airstrip.
It'd be a desert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because the minute John and I took over, the first thing we did, and it went through the board too, is no tree will be cut down unless it's severely diseased and can't be saved, dead, or a safety hazard. End of sentence.
Well, yeah,
You know, no more cutting trees down for view or for this or that.
But just cut mine.
Well,
Yeah.
No, really,
Yeah.
just cut
Yeah.
mine because,
yeah,
but it's just cut mine times 25.
yeah.
It makes some impact.
The
So, you know,
reason that 90% of the people that live here are living here because of what we have. So
Better
you're not
believe
gonna
it.
start
Yeah.
destroying it.
Yep.
Right.
Starting to cut trees
and
down.
it's a combination of old Florida with newer stuff, and that's what we want.
Probably even a higher percent. But as you know, that I interview everyone who comes in here, whether it's a tenant, renter, or a buyer. And almost, I really, more than 90%, first comment, I just love to turn off that Cortez Road and come in here and look at the grounds and everything. And, you know, we kind of call it a controlled jungle because it is, because
That's it.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
impossible to control everything and make it cookie cutter or Japanese gardening. But the people buy in here because of it.
You don't want
And
cookie
it had
cutter
to do with the
anyway.
way they
No,
built it to
no.
begin with.
If you
because
don't
these
like
trees
it, go-
apparently were here.
Go buy one where all they have is
I
concrete
mean,
and hot top and you're baking all the time because there's no shade, there's nothing.
No, and John's telling the truth. They don't mention the buildings, they don't mention the paint on the buildings, the windows, nothing. The carport, it's just the ground.
One of my friends is in a trailer cart and some lady tripped over a root that was growing up through the sidewalk. So instead of going around and checking all the sidewalks, the association decided to remove all the trees.
Isn't that great?
Oh my
Yeah, and
God.
so now it's naked as anything.
And hot,
Horrible.
and
Good
hot.
luck, good luck with your electric bill when the
Yeah.
air conditioner's going.
Cheaper fix.
All right, next thing, status mulch application.
Okay, we're about, I would say minimally of 1/3 in for
Oh,
the
yeah.
week.
Yeah,
And we're, of course, we're doing the backs and all the common areas. 3 of the pools have been done of the 7. So we're making good progress. Today and tomorrow we'll be cutting grass and edging and mowing. So there won't be any mulch application, but I'd like to think we're gonna get most of it done by the end of next week.
Yeah.
Cool. And we do have a new grounds person. Jose has joined us,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and he's working out
Trying
very
to
well.
ease, thank God.
Yeah, and of course, George was working with us part-time, an owner, and George is taking the summer off to go on a trip. So, and then just as we get a new, good, strong worker, Alfredo had to have prostate surgery. And so he's going to be out for a few weeks. So it's just when you get ahead of the game, you
Yeah.
take 2 steps back.
John, have we lost any maintenance people? Are we down some?
We were
besides
down,
that?
we were down
down
two,
two.
Chris. Yeah, and we got one back, and then so yeah, we're one under. Currently, right now, if Alfredo was here, we would still be one under our high of a couple of years ago. But we seem to get some more efficient work by it. And of course, this is not our area of discipline here, but as you know, we don't have a quote unquote full-time carpenter anymore, but we're actually, this Howell Construction is coming in and doing the work has filled in amicably, and we're actually saving money using them until we find somebody that is willing to work full-time for the wage we pay. I've talked to some very qualified people, and everybody wants $32 an hour. We pay 19. So right now, with the crew coming in, they get things done fast. Also, Alfredo, believe it or not, is extremely competent in putting in drywall. So he's filled in and after hours doing that. So we're not behind there. We're actually up to snuff in the building's ends.
What are we paying grounds?
We pay grounds, it goes from a high of 23 to 17, depending on what level
That
they do.
sounds pretty competitive.
Well, it is.
Benefits, right?
Well, some get insurance, some decline insurance.
It's just, okay. it's a
Yeah,
choice.
but you know, they all get, depending on the length of time, most of them are at the 3-week vacation level. They also get a week's sick time and a week personal time, and of course, pretty beneficial bonuses at Christmas time.
Right.
So
Sounds good.
the crew we have, we're very fortunate to have. Everybody seems to be more than loyal and more than interested in doing the work on a positive basis, and they interact very well.
And just to try to keep those folks here, because they're doing a great job, is give them side jobs. Like I have a tree in the back I want to trim, and I paid the guy good money for doing it, but I'd pay somebody else just as much.
Just let us know.
Yeah, they do get a lot of work, and
Let us know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
He came to me.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
said, you know that tree? And I said, yeah, I know that tree. He said, you want to trim it? He goes, yeah, I'll do it. And I
'Cause
said,
I've
"How
always
much?"
said-
And he told me, I said, okay, do it.
Our crew is great. Like, we were getting rid of some of the mildew on the side of the buildings. Eddie, after hours, did it for us, saved us a lot of money. So, you know,
Jim
Yeah.
did it,
Yeah.
and now Eddie's going to do it.
yeah,
So it's amazing how much mildew and mold we grow, how quickly on these buildings.
Cut all the trees down.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
there you go.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's always where the vegetation is.
You
You're
gotta
all right, Doug.
eliminate the shade, you eliminate the mold.
Yeah.
Back to the same thing.
But we are in the process of getting ready to look at that again. And of course, we're starting to take paint bids because it's been 8.5 years since we painted. And just to give you an idea, and we don't, this topic of money is always paramount, but the last paint job we did that excluded the metal railings and excluded the metal posts was $545,000. Best bid I got right now to do it this or next year is in the high 7s.
Would that be for the
Paint.
wood or for?
Oh,
the-
everything.
Paint,
sides of
price
the
of
house?
paint,
Everything.
everything.
What happened, we were thinking because the stucco seems to be lasting better than the wood. And we thought we could break it up and maybe just do the wood and then do the stucco, but there's no effective savings in doing that. Even though you think there would be, but there's second setups and there's taking the window slats out and on and on and on. But the cost of paint has skyrocketed in the last 8 years, as everything else has.
Yeah.
Paint's better now.
Anyway,
Okay.
with just to give you an idea that you're right though, Gus, if we just cut everything down, we won't have this mildew problem.
Okay, any other committee comments?
I have.
Yeah, I have one, Peter. I noticed in walking behind some of Lakeside that we had about 4 or 5 trees on the other side of the pond that sort of fell over. I assume from Ian. I don't know whether we need to do anything to address it. It might have impacted those people that live over there, but we've always had some issues with them anyway, so maybe this blocks their view more. But I noticed that you could see the bottoms of their trees that have sort of tipped over there.
You are correct. and some of it, one or two of them, I guess you could say, are on our bank, but the majority of them are back in the easement, aren't they, Jeff? That I'm surprised I haven't heard more from Glen Lakes, because when that kind of stuff comes down, they're always wanting us to do it, and it turns out that they're either their trees or FPNL trees. And talking about, again, another issue, the homeless are really pervasive along that 43rd corridor, and I met with the code enforcement yesterday, and we'll see what happens. They say they're going to come out, but I've got pictures that will make you cry right now.
Oh.
With debris and everything. And their idea is to cut the trees down, but the more they cut this way, the more that the homeless will move into there.
They'll just move.
And then there's the barrier of the people who live along 43rd up in Pinehurst will be totally gone.
Even where there's a border and then there's a gap behind it, we need to put something in there, like poison ivy.
Let me tell you, once a week for the, I heard this, I can't tell you, but someone is spreading the rumor that the manager and the president is spraying skunk juice up there on a regular basis. That's what I hear, but it doesn't seem to have helped.
I was gonna say, it's a good idea.
Every piece of clothing there has a serious aroma to it.
Well, I understand we have a cleaning service for them that goes in once in a while and just throws all that stuff away.
Yeah. The last time I went up there, I found a pile of needles.
Yep.
Anyway,
Any
got off track, sorry.
owners' comments?
I had a question. Go ahead.
A few years ago when we moved in, we had like dead stuff behind our lanai, and I requested you guys,
We cleaned it up, yeah.
no, not that one, the other one. We had hibiscus in there, and I requested to change out the dead hibiscus to gardenias, and they're lovely, and I've been babying them, and they've, for the most part, done super well. I take good care of them, feed them and everything, but one of them died, so it was like gardenia in a big hole. I was wondering if you could ever.
That's the kind of thing we've been looking at, yes.
To replace that
If you
one.
spin it one way, you'll see a series of pictures that I just took yesterday up there.
We put them in originally, right? No, that shouldn't be a problem.
And
Yeah, that's not a problem.
And I tried my best to save it.
No, we'll do it, all right? Okay. There's a hole where it is now. Okay, good.
Gus,
Yeah, I had a question. Anybody know who chews Orbit gum around here?
I've been finding them everywhere.
I pick them up every day.
No kidding. Orbit gum.
Orbit gum and just lets the papers fly.
It's a little square, about an inch and a half square wrapper. And what concerns me is I find them literally everywhere.
Apparently she says too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can walk out, I walk my dogs all the time, and I can come back with 2 or 3 every time I go out. Now, what concerns me, Jeff, is it one of the maintenance guys? Because I find them everywhere. I mean, it's.
No, the guys don't chew gum.
I mean, I've never seen any of them.
They smoke cigars, but they don't chew gum.
Yeah, cigars.
Spin it
Yeah,
this way and you'll see
the
what's
cigars
up
are
there.
fine. I like the smell, actually.
Just keep
But-
going it this way.
Anybody knows who's
Yeah.
chewing the Orbit gum? If you let
This
me
is
know, I'll
what we
take care of the problem.
find up there.
Where do you find it?
Move over there
Everywhere.
overnight every day.
All along the street,
You can
All
spin it, you
along
can spin it and see a
the
the
bunch.
edges of the road.
The papers, you mean?
It's a little wrapper. It's about an inch and a half
There
square.
must have been about 20 of them the other day up there all along.
Yeah.
that-
Well,
You
Orbit
know,
gum.
they don't chew, 'cause
It's
they're
got
just
it
left
printed on the
road
back.
on the
Orbit
bank
gum.
Oh, that's a little, tent.
Are you talking about Orbit wrappers?
They're owned
No,
by
it's the,
Applebee's
well,
during the
there
day.
must have
and
been
they
at
come
least
over
20 of them. I don't know
I've
if they
seen
were,
them to know.
if they were having a union meeting.
Yeah,
or
they're
what.
out, yeah.
But they were-
No,
I
come
don't
up
know.
with
You have a committee meeting.
Yeah, must have been a convenient.
Yeah, it's scary someone carrying.
And you see it walking across the street and I go, where they go?
When I
They
take the
go
dogs
on
out, and it's not for the dogs, because I get their bags.
I know some goofy lady was walking and she offered my dog a piece of gum. And, you know, and that one sugar that starts with an
Yeah.
X is poisonous to
Xylitol.
dogs. And so I'm
Yeah,
going, no,
yeah.
no, my dog cannot have you know, because it's furry, it's gonna get gummy, it's kind of like,
Wait, she's
oh,
talking
really?
about
She says
dogs?
it's really good. It's kind of like, yeah, you're goofy lady, but anyway.
She's talking about doggy dump?
Yeah, I'm suspecting her just because she's a little
Found the chicken bone laying on the road the other day on
wanting
the
to
side of the road.
offer
My dog
strange
got
dogs.
it taken away from him. Right there, coming back towards you.
You'll
I
be,
figured that was a worker threw that out.
you'll be surprised that, well, all our guys eat back here, so I don't know, but you'll be surprised what Jim finds when he cleans the roof. He'll find many a fish skeleton that the birds will drop,
Yeah.
more than you know. It's amazing. And of course, we see tadpoles up there
Tadpoles.
flying in the
Oh,
little,
you'd be surprised, you walk up there, like after the rainy season and stuff like that, you'll see where the water settles, you'll see thousands of tadpoles.
Oh,
Oh,
tadpole.
tadpoles,
Yeah.
thousands of them, just,
For tree frogs?
I don't know, tree frogs or frogs or whatever.
no, we killed all the frogs with our.
Not all of them.
No, the ones that live on the roof are protected.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all right.
It's like, how does a frog get up on a roof to lay?
Oh, frogs
It's
are
a tree
flying in
frog, they'll
buildings.
climb right up the
Yeah.
stucco.
Sure,
Yeah.
then it's mouth
Tree
and
frogs.
frog.
Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. tree
I have a
frogs.
tree frog in my she shed,
She said she sells.
who's big enough to hand me my tools when I open the door.
Really?
His name is Carlos.
We're seeing more.
Oh, you
seasonal-
gave him a name?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
He's
Absolutely.
probably a
Does he-
Cuban tree frog, because the Cuban tree frogs are pretty good
Habla
size. Our
español,
native
Carlos?
ones are about the size of a doornail.
I haven't taken my language lessons, but he seems to answer it whenever I scream.
People are feeding the Canadian geese and stuff at that pond that you come in off of Cortez. The other day, a guy pulls up in a little white car. He gets out with 2 5-pound bags of bird seed, was spreading
Really?
all on the grass
On that side, yeah.
on the side where the Wildwood Plaza is.
Yeah.
That pond on the left as you're coming in, he's spreading 2 bags of bird seed, and I'm there. Canadian geese aren't going to eat that anyway. They don't eat bird seed, but the other birds and the raccoons and everything else are going to.
Oh, everything, yeah.
And the
And I-
rats.
And there's a lady that
Rats,
stops
yep.
there and once in a while with a couple loaves of bread, and she's taking the bread, and I says, for the ducks or Canadian geese, because it gets, they can't digest that, so then they may think they're helping the animals, but they're not helping them. They're hurting them.
Messes up the calcium in the bones. If you-
Somebody in A throws bread out too. when we walk
Well, we
by.
did. That she's gotten a second letter and finding now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many birds back there that the grass is gone because they've eaten the grass
Yes.
with the food.
Yeah.
There was a
She's got
raccoon-
another letter.
There was a raccoon the other night that walked behind my lanai, and they says, he's eating good. I could have thrown a saddle on him and rode him around. He was up there, wherever he's found a place to eat, he's doing good for himself.
Jeff, I have another question for you. Speaking of grass being gone, there's some areas that we have like out behind our unit that there's just like hardly any grass in that area right there behind it. I mean, it's mostly weeds
Yeah.
actually. If you put weed killer in it, just turn into mud. But I know we can't afford to sod and even plug an area like that. But is there a seed? I know you can't buy St. Augustine seed. But
No, St. Augustine is plug,
yeah,
can't do it. The best thing to do would be to put like a winter rye down. That might
Mhm.
grow, but with the canopy that's back there, that's why you're not getting any grass whatsoever.
Let's go take a look and see,
Yeah.
maybe we can
Canopy's all
plug
there.
it, put some plugs in,
It's a
because seed's not
fairly-
gonna do any good. There's no seed that we,
Yeah.
you know, like you say, you bring up
Yeah,
winter stuff and it'll be gone in the summertime anyway, because you're not here.
Yeah.
But-
Well, I mean,
So let's go back and look at it, okay?
yeah, it'd be something worth looking at.
Okay.
It's that tree problem again.
Wildwood Springs is, from what I've seen, by far the most environmentally friendly area in this county that I've seen. Because I'm talking about condominiums. Most condominiums have these neatly trimmed grass and all this kind of stuff, which I don't like. I like natural
Yep.
stuff. I think it looks better. It's more environmentally friendly and it's easier to care for.
Yep.
We have a lot of areas that there is no grass because there's a lot of stuff growing. We've got all types of ground cover, which is better. You don't have to cut it.
That's right.
And it helps clean the air and all that other stuff. Just don't throw this at me because I'm gonna throw this at you and you're gonna, I know, we can't do that. But I just suggest it be part of our plan going forward. that would reduce the amount of grass and increase the amount of ground cover that you don't have to cut. And it looks good. There's all kinds of stuff. We've got the, I don't know what they call this. We have lots of different types of ground cover throughout this whole area. Just expand it, just continue to let it go.
I'd be
It's
into
easy to
that.
take care of.
Single fern ones.
Costs less money. It looks prettier. It's more environmentally friendly.
And we don't have
Things
to
that grass
fertilize
is
it.
not environmentally friendly. It looks pretty to some people. In my house in Michigan, I took almost all the grass out of my yard and put plants in and ground cover. So I don't expect any action on this or whatever, but just
Suggestion.
consider that.
You can just Google Florida ground covers and up comes a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, grass itself is not a native plant.
Yeah.
We're forcing something to grow that's not a native plant.
Right. You gotta fertilize.
At home, I try to tell people when they get, they dumping tons of fertilizer around to keep things green and stuff. In the summertime, I said, summertime, when the plants actually go into a state of dormancy, when they say, my lawn is turning brown. He says, the top's brown. The plant is actually protecting itself.
Right.
It's protecting the root system. The top dies. I says, wait till September when it starts raining again. And I said, you won't be complaining because it'll all be green again. But, sometimes you just, with grass, I keep telling them, I says, it's not native. You're forcing some kind of a plant to grow that's, it's not like you said, the vegetation and stuff that's the native plants will grow anywhere, but grass isn't a native plant. We're forcing something to grow and a lot of times that
Some of
if you
these
go
can
by,
grow from seed.
if you go by like Scott's land products, they'd have you putting fertilizer down 8 times a year because they're in the business. They're in the business to make money. You don't fertilize in the dry season because all you're gonna do is you promote shallow rooting and everything else when it's dry.
And then it doesn't have a chance to grow.
And it doesn't have a chance. You're throwing money away at the price of fertilizer now. You're really throwing money out the window because it's really expensive. But of course, you get all these companies like Scott's and the other ones. Of course, they're promoting their products, and they'd have you, and even the landscape outfits, they'll have you. They're in the business to make money. They don't care how much stuff you pour on your lawn, even though it's going to do you no good. Like True Green and all those other companies.
We're gonna have to get Jeff a couple of the battery lawnmowers, man.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Excellent.
Electric
Huh?
for years.
I like the one Jeff rides around with. It keeps running. I know you're coming.
That's probably about 8 years old.
Okay. 16?
That would be the third Thursday.
Okay, all right, we'll schedule the next meeting, the 16th.
March 16th will be the third Thursday, what we normally meet, 10 o'clock. And Pete's Whiskey Barrel will be St. Patty's Day the next day.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question. You're having the guys come in and take out some trees.
Mhm.
Jeff, are you aware that out on pool 6, there's a dead palm tree?
No.
It's there at the back by the little pool house, the little filter
Yeah.
house. It's to the right of that. It's actually a pretty good sized palm. It's grown up into the canopy of some other stuff. And that's why you don't see it as dead, because you can't see that there's,
Can't see the palm.
We thought that ought to be carved into a tiki.
it's a big,
It's a big tree.
it's a big palm.
I know there's a, Jack was telling me there's a dead pine tree we're starting to go by pool 7 too.
I haven't seen that one, but
If you want to see a dead tree, go look at this
The one that's over there.
Norfolk pine. There's 2 of them up there. They must be 85 feet
Yeah.
tall, and one of them just died overnight, just gone.
I think it must have gotten struck by lightning.
I do
Like
too.
Wildewood.
I
Probably
agree.
to go that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's another Norfolk pine right there behind, or as you go down Wildwood Springs Drive, just almost to the end there on the left. It's kind of behind Woodlawn,
Yeah.
and it's alive, but the bottoms,
Barely.
Well, there's a big section on the bottom, it's black. It looked like maybe it got struck too.
And
Very well be.
oozing, yeah,
It's just, yeah,
Oozing's not a good thing.
no, no, good thing.
but the top of it's on.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second? Okay. Well, we'll see you all the 16th of March.
Okay.
Take care.
I have some